I like the Fast and Furious series. High octane action, full of cars, it's all good. I really like the series mainly because they were inspired by other films like Grand Theft Auto. Yes, there was a movie of Grand Theft Auto in the 70s. The Italian Job, and Gone in 60 Seconds. And it centers around a family. I have almost all of them with the exception of the 8th movie, Fate of the Furious, which I did like. Out of all of the movies in the series, the only one I didn't like was the third one, Tokyo Drift. Mostly because of narrative reasons. But I really enjoy this series. They're fun, they're kind of like guilty pleasure movies, and they're really enjoyable. So, what happened here? I don't even know. I have no idea what happened, but I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why this movie is just, oh my god. The movie's main characters center around Rook, Hobbs, and Deckard Shaw. Shaw is in Paris, and Hobbs is in LA doing special operations on their own. Both work for independent organizations, and both have to work together. Why? Because a deadly virus known as the C272, also known as the Snowflake virus, was accidentally released by Shaw's sister because she worked for the CIA and tried to get the virus on her own, but the virus is infected in her. The virus was originally created for a much different purpose, so now the whole point of the movie is that the virus has to come out of her and not end the world at the same time. And both Shaw and Hobbs have to work together, even though we clearly know that they don't want to work together at all. That's basically it. You couldn't really come up with any real in-depth plot lines. You couldn't think of anything more. I don't know. Oh, and Idris Elba is in the middle of everything as Brixton, who works for an organization that wants the virus to support, quote-unquote, the cause. He's kind of like the Terminator in a sense that he's completely robotic and indestructible. Oh, and as for the other characters, we have Helen Mirren as Shaw's mom, who's in prison, Ryan Reynolds as Locke, who works for the CIA, and Kevin Hart's in this movie. Yeah, in like 2 scenes. But that's not the point of the movie. But the point I want to say is, I want to talk about the story. First off, the Snowflake virus. So, Shaw's sister was working for the CIA, and she accidentally got the virus infected in her. The virus is contained in these tiny little capsule things that don't really release until activated at a certain point, which they never do, by the way. What I was asking myself this whole movie was, why wouldn't the virus kill her immediately? I mean, she accidentally got the virus in her, and the virus is lethal, so wouldn't you think that the virus would, I don't know, make her weaker? In fact, the movie never explains how the virus makes her weaker or stronger. It's just in her. At least in For the Dark World, when Natalie Portman was infected by that cosmic energy thing, at least we saw her with her unwanted powers as the movie went on. The energy force got stronger and stronger, so it made sense. It actually made her weaker, and that's why there was such a necessary need to get it out of her. But in here, nope, the virus is just in her and she's not affected by it whatsoever. And that was ultimately one of the main issues I had, was just this whole idea. And by the way, Brixton, I don't even know how you're saying his name. What is with this organization? What is the cause? Yeah, they say that they want to eliminate the weak, but they never go beyond that. It's just, oh, Idris Elba wants the virus, but they want her, so yeah, they want her, so now we have to worry about that now. Ugh, the story doesn't make any sense. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about Hobbs and Shaw. They bicker throughout the entire movie. Yes, it is true that they despise one another, and it's actually funny. It's actually fun to see them argue for the first hour and a half. And then after that, it starts to get really annoying. Like, I kind of felt very annoyed by this movie. They just wouldn't stop arguing with one another. And even the movie acknowledges that they do not work well together. So why would they have any reason to... Yes, I know they have to work together, and I know they have to work through their differences, I get that. But it's obvious that they're not going to. Even by the end of the movie, they're not really friends. They're just acquaintances. So they never make up and say, hey, you're not as bad as I thought. No, they bicker throughout the entire movie. It's funny for like the first hour and a half, but then it starts to get really annoying after a while. You start to get almost numb to it. Yes, there were times where I actually did laugh at a couple parts. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was mostly good. Like, their humor was funny, but then it just drags on after a while. You kind of get, tired of it after a certain amount of time, On top of that, the story doesn't necessarily add up when you realize that Brixton framed Hobbs and Shaw and claims that they're wanted men, when really he's just setting them up so that he can get Shaw's sister and extract the virus. So, okay, fine. So, Hobbs and Shaw go to this woman from Sweden or something, and she comes up with this idea of getting this specific machine that is required to extract the virus. Okay, well, guess what her plan is? Turning her over to Brixton so that they can go in and get the machine. And even when they do get the machine, it breaks. So I just don't get the structure of this movie. It feels like there are things in this movie that were not thought out. Guys, you need to think through your implications and actually, write this script in a good way. Yes, the Fast and Furious movies are notorious for not fully making sense, but at the very least, they were consistent. They at the very least thought this through. And when something didn't work, the characters themselves acknowledged how crazy or insane it was, and you kind of go on with the ride anyway. But here, there's just plot elements that are not fully explored. Like, how does the virus infect Shaw's sister? It doesn't. It doesn't affect her in any way whatsoever. Why do they need to get this machine? Why do they need to get this specific machine if Shaw's sister was going to get captured anyway and they needed to go to this nuclear power plant? Nope. Never explained. This movie doesn't make sense. And I only scratched the surface. I mean, there's way more other things in this movie that doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't even remember. It just was so terrible. Okay, so the story doesn't make any sense, and Hobbs and Shaw's constant arguing is funny up until a certain point. What about everything else, the technical aspects? Okay. Music is... the soundtrack. Why is there a terrible new version of Time in a Bottle? Why? Oh, and here's the best part. You're gonna love this. The editing. The editing is atrocious. I don't even really know why. It's just terrible. But you want to know what the biggest problem is? The biggest problem with the editing is that it's inconsistent. Okay, I have the perfect example on the top of my head. Okay, so Hobbs has to go to this place in Somala? I don't know. Basically where he grew up as a kid with all his brothers and ancestors. They have to go there, and he doesn't want to go there, so they go there, and the brother's really angry, and he needs him to fix the machine that'll extract the virus. And when they do, they realize that Brixton is gonna head over there pretty soon. I don't even know how they knew where they were, but whatever. Hobbs' brother fixes the machine, and they extract the virus out of Shaw's sister. Now, this is very important. Remember this. It takes 30 minutes for the virus to be extracted out of her completely. Okay, remember that? Good. They're about to fight, but they don't fight with guns. Instead, they go old school. Medieval weapons and hand-to-hand combat and stuff. Okay, that's fine. It's nighttime. Remember that. It's nighttime. The fight's about to start, with fireworks going off, car lights, a rain of fire around Brixton's soldiers whose guns are disabled because they're high-tech guns. Okay, this is gonna be cool. And then literally in the next shot, the sun's rising and Brixton's helicopter shows up. And then immediately in the next shot after that, it's dawn already. It's already dawn and we're still fighting. Time, 20 minutes. And then after that, Shaw gets in a truck, then the helicopter chases after the truck, and everybody does the whole car thing like you would typically see in a Fast and Furious movie. Time, 10 minutes. What? Okay, so let me get this straight. So, are you telling me that it takes 30 seconds for the sky to go from night to day? No! No! That is not how this works! You are throwing basic science out the window. Okay, it takes at least Here, let me Google this. Hold on. So, according to what I've been reading, apparently the sun takes about 2 to 5 minutes depending on where you are in the world. Okay, fine, you might have explained that, except there's one problem. In this shot right here, you can clearly see that it is nighttime, like 5 or 6 a.m. So, are you seriously telling me that they have been fighting for 3 hours? No. Okay, so apparently I did some more research on it. And according to the website timeanddate.com, in Soma, daytime can last as long as 11 hours. But I decided to do some more digging. There are 3 twilights. Each one lasts about 51 minutes each. 2 of them are sunrises. So, based on what I am seeing here, and I could be getting this wrong, the time that it takes for Soma to turn from night to day is 2 hours. Okay, even that doesn't add up because it takes 30 minutes for the virus to get extracted out of Shaw's sister. Either the editing is so bad that you can't even tell what's going on, or those are the longest 30 minutes ever. I don't get it. I really, really don't get it. This is one of the worst edits I've ever seen in my life. I thought I was watching an Ed Wood movie. Oh, and I didn't even talk about the elephant in the room. Okay, for a series called Fast and Furious, there is absolutely hardly any car action going on. Most of the action sequences are hand-to-hand combat, which is fine, but the problem is that this is a Fast and the Furious spinoff. At least that one Fast and Furious game that was an arcade game that lets you drive motorcycles instead of cars, that game felt more like a Fast and the Furious thing rather than this movie. There are only 3, I repeat, 3 moments in the entire movie that focuses on cars whatsoever. 3. All 3 are decent, but unfortunately, it just isn't necessarily worth it if the rest of the movie is just faulty and broken. The editing's terrible, Hobbs and Shaw's bickering is funny up to a point, and the story doesn't make sense. In a franchise that is known for not making much sense. What happened to this series, man? You know, I really enjoyed this series. Now, I don't even know anymore. Is it worse than John Wick 3? No. Because as crazy and as insane as that movie was, the fight choreography was good, the cinematography was good, and the editing was good. It was just the story that I had a problem with. This movie has 2 recognizable good characters, I might add, in a movie that doesn't make any sense and has bad editing. No, it's not worse because in John Wick 3, I couldn't understand what was going on. In Hobbs and Shaw, I at the very least was able to kind of sort of grasp what was going on. And keep in mind, even if you hadn't seen the other Fast and Furious movies, this movie hardly ever connects to anything in the other movies. With the exception of Helen Mirren's character, Hobbs and Shaw, and like one line where Shaw mentions a operation that they had together. That's about it. I later realized that this isn't even a real Fast and Furious movie. Yeah, no duh, right? The real Fast and Furious 9 won't come out until next year. Hopefully that movie's better. But I just didn't like this movie. I mean, it's okay, I guess, but it's bad when you think about the story elements that were not thought out well enough. A basic necessity in the plot, like how does the virus affect Shaw's sister, that's never explored at all. It's like, oh, well, she can still fight, she can do things, and I honestly wondered, okay, how does it affect her? It doesn't. Does it make her weaker? No. Does it make her stronger? No, it doesn't. She just has the virus in her. All thanks to a suitcase that she was trying to prevent Brixton from getting. And no, they never explain what this company is. No, they don't explain who the boss of Brixton's company is. They don't explain anything. It's just... oh my god, this movie, man. If there's one thing I can say about this movie is that it's not the worst spinoff I've ever seen, but I really shouldn't be complaining too much because spinoffs do tend to be really bad. they're not connected with the main series, and they just kind of go off its own thing. But the problem is that when you make a spin-off, chances are you're risking the spin-off being terrible. And that's usually how these things go. But honestly, this movie could have been good. It could have been the exception to the rule, but no. And this movie is just, I don't even know, man. I don't want to say it was absolutely god awful, but this is not good. Is it worth seeing on the big screen? Well, I guess. But I'd rather, if you have one of those plans where you can see a movie at a cheaper price, do that instead of paying full price to see this because you're not gonna like it. Overall, I give this movie, oh my god, this is disappointing even for me because I'm usually a sucker for these. These are like guilty pleasures. But what happens when you can't even enjoy that guilty pleasure that you used to like? What happens? You end up giving this movie a 4 out of 10. I mean, oh my god, man. This movie could have been better. Is it watchable? Well, no. I mean, there's some stuff that's cool, but I seriously hope that the next movie will be better. So now I have to worry about Fast and Furious 9 being bad. Great. Thanks, Hobbs and Shaw.